Hey, Year 10. So now we're looking at 9C, which is titled Summary Statistics. What we're going to be looking at is something called, as I've got written here, the five-figure summary or five-number summary. Now, what often happens when we get results from surveys is a list of or a set of data, so a list of numbers. So list of numbers might be something like this that I've got written down here, and we'll use this as an example later. But when you've got a list of numbers, the five-figure summary, it shows you about that information. As it says there, it sort of summarizes it. So those five different figures are listed just here. So we've got the minimum, the lower quartile, the median, the upper quartile, and the maximum. Okay, now I've got written here what each of them are. So minimum is the lowest value in your data set, so the smallest number you can find in your list. The lower quartile, also known as Q1, is the number above the bottom quarter of data. But I think the easier way to remember it is the median of the lower half of the data. So you'd split that data in two and then find the median of the lower half. The median, and I've sort of spoken about this just before, it's the middle number. So you'd have your entire list and you'd find the middle number, that's your median. The next one, upper quartile, it's the same thing as the lower quartile, except it's the median of the upper half. Okay, and the next one's maximum, which is the highest value of the data set. Now, what I've got here in this little diagram is the same as what I showed just above. It's just in a bit of a drawing. Now, two new things though are your interquartile range and your range. Now, the range is the distance from your minimum to your maximum. So if you wanted an equation to do that, it would be maximum minus minimum. And your interquartile range is the distance between the first quarter and the third. So to work the IQR out, it would be this number, Q3, minus Q1. And another thing I want to talk about, which is the last piece of new information, is outliers. Now you might have heard this word before, but it means pieces of data outside the vicinity of the rest of the data. So it can be data that lies outside the fences. So what I mean by fences is these two things here. We work out the lower fence and the upper fence. If the number doesn't come inside that span, it would count as an outlier. So we're going to see if we can find any outliers in the questions that are about to come. All right, so this is the sort of stuff that you're going to be doing. So we've been given a list of numbers here, and it's asked us to find all these different things. So we want the minimum, lower quartile, median, upper quartile, maximum, interquartile range, the range, and we're going to see if there's any outliers. Now this list of numbers, this is actually ordered. Something that's super important is you have to order all the numbers, but it's already been done for us this time. Okay, so we don't need to do it with this example. Okay, so let's start working out all these important things. So firstly, I might try to find the median, which is the middle number. So I can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 numbers here. I want to find the one that's in the middle. If I choose this one here, looks like we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on that side, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on that side. So this one here, this is our median. Cool. Now I want to find maybe the lower quartile. So can you see how we can split this into two sets now? So here's our lower numbers and here's our upper numbers. We don't need this 15 anymore. So I want to focus on these ones here to find my lower quartile and these ones here to find my upper quartile. Okay, so I want the median of these ones. So as I can see, this one's in the middle. So this one here must be Q1. And up here, this one's in the middle. So this one here must be Q2. Now, the other things we need are the minimum and maximum. Minimum is our smallest number. So this is our minimum. And maximum is the largest number. So this is our maximum. There we go. All right, now it asks for our interquartile range and our range. So our interquartile range would mean from the first quarter, which is here, all the way to, that should be Q3, all the way to the upper quarter, which is here. So I want to know that span. So the IQR is from 11 all the way to 21. So that span is 10. We've got an IQR of 10. We needed the range as well. Now the range is from the lowest to the highest. So the lowest is here, the highest is here. So the range is from 8 to 26. So that means the range would be 18. There we go. So we've come up with most of the things we need so far. The only last thing we need is to check for any outliers. Now to do that, we need to work out that kind of boundary that kind of counts as outliers. So anything inside this boundary here would be classed as an outlier. So let's do our lower fence first. All right, so the lower fence is Q1, which is 11, minus 1.5 times the interquartile range, which was 10. Okay, so our lower fence is going to be equal to 11 minus 15, so it's minus 4. And our upper fence is Q3, which is 21, plus 1.5 times the IQR, and that IQR was 10. Okay, so that means that's going to be 21 plus 15. So we have 36. Now, did we have any values that weren't inside the span of -4 to 36? No, so that means no outliers. So I might summarize that down here. No numbers outside the fences, therefore no outliers. There we go. So we've done that question. There is a B though. This was A. So let's start B. Okay, here we go. So we've got another list of numbers here. You might notice that this list of numbers, it isn't in order. So we're not going to be able to find out all those 5 figures if we leave it in this order. We're going to have to make sure we fix that up. So let's do that. Now, hopefully you noticed that I was crossing these numbers off just to make sure I didn't make any mistakes, but I want to make sure that I have all the numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, cool. Now, let's find these different things that we need. So we want the median, which is the middle number. So if I choose this one, we can see that we've got 4 on one side and 4 on the other side. So that's our median. And we've kind of split this data into 2. So we've got this lower half and the upper half as well. Now we want to find the median of these to find Q1, except can we see that there's no middle number because it's an even amount? So the median would actually be the average of these two. So it would actually be 4.5. So our Q1 is 4.5. And the same thing happens over here. See how those two are in the middle? So we'd say that our Q3 is going to be 16.5, which is the average of these two numbers. We want our minimum and maximum. So there's our minimum. There's our maximum. And now we want our range and interquartile range. So let's do our IQR first. So from here all the way to here. Now IQR is going to be from 4.5 to 16.5. So our IQR is 12. And we want our range as well. So from the lowest to the highest, our range is 17. Now, last thing, we want to check if there's any outliers. So we want to find our upper and lower fences. Alright, now the lower fence was Q1, which is 4.5, minus 1.5 times your RQR, which was 12. And your upper fence is going to be Q3, which is 16.5, plus 1.5 times your RQR, which was 12. Okay, so that's going to be 18. 4.5 minus 18. And this one over here is going to be 16.5 plus 18. Okay, so that's going to give us minus 13.5. And the other one is going to be 18 plus 16 is 34, plus 0.5 is 34.5. And we can see that none of the values are outside there. So we don't have any outliers for this one either.